Previously on Dual Spirit Adventures. I entered Bolivia, spoke some bad Spanish,
Moto acá. Sí, por aquí.
took a dodgy raft across a river, reached the highest capital city in the world, saw some colorful buildings, did a ghetto fix for my fork seals, experienced Andean summer, and took on one and only death road of Bolivia and didn't die. Then I rode through some water crossing and rode into the fog and was ready to explore deeper into Bolivia. Diving deeper into Bolivia, I really wanted to ride down into Amazonia, into Cochabamba. But it was the middle of monsoon, and considering my chain and sprocket was almost completely knackered, it wasn't a good idea. So I ditched the plan, headed to the next destination, the SALT FLATS of Uyuni. On our way to Uyuni, there is literally one paved road in the whole of Bolivia going southbound. The route is pretty arid and not much to see around, except for some wandering alpacas. Interesting animals, if you ask me. The only other source of interest on these roads were acres and acres of quinoa plantation. As someone who eats quinoa more often than most people, I was always curious how and where quinoa was grown. Turns out, thin soil and sparse rain is the best for quinoa plantations. Anyway, we made it to the sign which pointed to the SALT FLATS. The vanity on the sign was so obnoxious that you could barely tell what the sign read. This vandalism is what I disagree with, or maybe other adventure riders will agree with me, that this is wrong. Keeping my rant aside, we took the long yellow brick road to the SALT FLATS, where a couple of dogs chased us. Stay on this road for a couple of miles, and you reach the mouth of the SALT FLATS. There's no entrance fee as such. You're in there straight away. If you ask me, the Bolivian government can make a few dollars off of each tourist. It's the world's largest salt flats after all. This can go towards the development of the nearest town, Uyuni, which does not have any paved roads whatsoever. But the Bolivian government was too kind to charge the tourists, I guess. I'm not complaining though. The SALT FLATS of Uyuni is over 10,000 square kilometers in area at an altitude of 12,000 feet above sea level. It is formed as a result of transformation of several prehistoric lakes. The entire area is extremely flat and covered by a few meters of salt crust. I was here during the monsoon season, hence rain results in a thin layer of dead calm water which transforms the salt flats into the world's largest mirror. I was fortunate enough to be here during the monsoon to see the mirror effect. But it was windy and the water was not still. Bummer. Not to worry though, I had a couple more days to explore this place here. There was also one other downside to the salt flats during the monsoon. You cannot ride into the salt flats. The salt water splashed around would almost instantly kill the electricals. But not to worry again, we had planned to come back the next day with the tour company and not risk our bikes. I took some pictures which turned out well actually, as we waited for the golden hour, aka sunset. The golden hour was absolutely beautiful with bright yellow and orange over the seemingly endless horizon. After witnessing this amazing sight, we turned around and made our way towards Uyuni to find accommodation for the night. Justin, meanwhile, had caught up with us. Turning around, the golden hour quickly changed into the dark hour as black lightning and thunder-bearing clouds stared back at us. The beauty instantly disappeared, and it wasn't the best to get stranded in a salt-rich area under torrential downpour. It became a race to Uyuni, riding past all the tour SUVs, and I kept my camera rolling long enough to capture a lightning bolt. Anyway, My meal in Uyuni was essentially a fried egg inside a bun. Being next to the world's largest salt flats, I was expecting Uyuni to be a little more upbeat. There's also a train cemetery in Uyuni, which is just a bunch of abandoned trains slowly being consumed by Mother Nature. I only took a bunch of pictures here. We obviously returned to the salt flats the next day, this time on rented SUVs, a trusty old Toyota Land Cruiser. Let's be honest, only Toyotas can take this kind of punishment. Accompanied by a tour guide, the Land Cruiser waded through the infinite salt puddles, quite evident of the monsoon season. When the SUV finally stopped, the vast expanse of plain flatland can be disorienting. Kinda like being in the sea, except you can walk on the surface. Every direction you look, the view is exactly the same. Being in this strange place, the Instagram game was going strong for some tourists. So we hopped aboard the pictures wagon. 10,000 square kilometers of white vastness blends in so well with the horizon, it gives us a chance to take some spectacular perspective photos. Speaking of pictures, there was a line to take picture in front of the Dakar Rally monument. If you do not know what the Dakar Rally is, I suggest you look it up. It is the most grueling endurance race in the world. The next tourist attraction was the Salt Hotel, or the Palace of Salt as they call it. Apart from having stickers for a mirror, it is a hotel built out of salt blocks. It has 12 double bedrooms, a common bathroom, a common area, and no shower. It is apparently built out of 1,000,000 14-inch salt blocks. Built into its structure, sculptures, furniture, and walls, including the bathroom walls. Fun fact in the Salt Hotel, it is illegal to lick the walls to prevent degradation. Yes, this is an actual rule. Just outside of the Salt Hotel is the flag podium, where basically travelers from all over the world who visit this place put up their respective national flags. And of course, there was representation from India as well. There are a billion of us. One of us has gone through here and put up the flag. Good job, one of us. After some pictures with the flag, we walked over some dry patches of the salt flats, and then some wet patches for that mirror effect. But let's admit, there is no better way to witness the world's largest mirror than from up above. So, the Salt Flats is no doubt an amazing place, but here's a reminder why you shouldn't drive your own vehicle here, especially during the monsoon season. Once a month, a bunch of trucks go in and collect all the cars which were killed by the Salt Flats. That is a lot of dead cars. Keep this footage in mind if you ever get to Uyuni and want to drive your car here. It's not worth getting stranded in the middle of nowhere, guys. We got our motorbikes washed to prevent any such complications, even though we just pushed our bikes in for a picture. It's better to be safe than sorry, I guess. South of Uyuni, paved roads are non-existent. This is because we were entering the Bolivian Altiplano. Altiplano in Spanish means high plain, or in other words, the Andean plains. Its height averages at about 12,300 feet. As desolate as this region looks, it is rich in minerals like copper, silver, tungsten, tin, and lithium. All of these minerals are essential for battery technology. Given the investment towards electrification currently, I have a feeling this place won't look so arid a few years from now. But I could be wrong. Anyway, being on the Altiplano, you're not restricted to roads. It's a playground for overlanders. Greg, despite his bold tires, did not miss out on having some fun. I had my fair share of fun too. Diving deeper into this spectacular place, where there was no civilization for about 1,000 square kilometers, we had no choice but to set up camp for the night, which meant I had to make some camp food. Exciting! Not really. It was just cup noodles, and the most quote-unquote cooking I had to do was to boil water. The sun went down, my flashlights came out, and water, now boiled, I was ready for my 2-course meal. Camping is fun. The following morning, it was straight shot to the Chilean border on the Altiplano. This place was absolutely breathtaking. Being at around 13,000 feet above sea level, a small stroll would take your breath away. Quite literally. The scientists are still unclear on how this region was formed, but there is an abundance of prehistoric volcanoes in this area. It's the result of tectonic plate activity between the Nazca Plate and the South American Plate. I will not bore you guys with geology. There are other YouTube channels which has this information. Anyway, the Altiplano leads over to Chile. At this altitude, this is one of the highest border crossings in the world. These buildings in the distance were the first signs of civilization in over 200 kilometers. Buildings were the Bolivian immigration offices to stamp us out of Bolivia. Stamp out of Bolivia is the right time to sign out of episode 21. Catch me next time as I enter the penultimate country on my adventure, Chile. Guys, again, this is a lot of work for an individual. If you like what you see, if you or your friends are inspired by my videos, I would please ask you to drop a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. Until next time, Dual Spirit Adventures.